So, I get to introduce Hermie. He's with City Team. They're a sponsor of this event. Amazing, amazing ministry. So you have, I'm taking your time, so you take it from here.
All right. All right, well, it's that part of the day where we just feel that afternoon lag. So why don't we stand up real quick? Just stand where you are, stand. And it is so cool just to see the variety of what's going on in the Bay Area. And if you are inspired by today, give me 2 claps. If you are really, really inspired, give me 4 claps. Everybody awake? All right, you can sit down. I'm with City Team, and I oversee our City Team in the neighborhood where we serve low-income families, and we do this in partnership with local churches. And then I also oversee church engagement, facilitate some strategic partnership with churches. And my talk today is, I want us to talk about to make the most of every opportunity. Because I believe there's opportunities all around us, and God is about not wasting opportunities. We know that there's a lot of things messed up in the Bay Area. I'm not going to bore you with the stats. And many of you will agree from the talks that we've heard so far that the best solution is for families to consistently live the discipled lives. Because that is the best solution to address all the root causes. And when they live the discipled life, it has to be in the context of a Christian community. When families live the discipled life, meaning that they strive to obey everything that Christ has commanded, we see a reduction in divorce, in poverty, in addiction, loneliness, anxiety. And when only 5 to 10% of families live the discipled life in an apartment complex or in a school or in a neighborhood, they are the ones that then start to transform this community from the inside out. It doesn't take a whole lot of people to change the atmosphere. There's enough Christians and churches already placed all over the Bay Area. Why is it that the Bay Area is getting worse on our watch? In Colossians 4, verse 5 to 6, we see Paul writing the following to the Christians in Colossae. And I'm just going to read verse 5. He says, "Be wise in the way you act towards outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity." We need to be wise, folks, because we have opportunities all around us. In the last 21 years of working at City Team, I partner with so many churches, and I am really, really sometimes just blown away and encouraged how faithfully so many churches are serving their community. But what I also realize is that there is a disconnect between the programs where we serve and we meet people's needs and making disciples of those people we serve. And I believe that what I also see is unless some of them come to church and their Sunday service and join a life group, most churches have no other way of discipling those they serve. And that is not making the most of every opportunity. So this is what I believe we're doing and that I really see is working. So 1 in 5 people in the Bay are food insecure. And our local food banks, they are absolutely phenomenal at acquiring huge, staggering amounts of food. So the challenge is not getting food, because the food is there. The challenge is getting that food to the people that really need it. And our awesome partners and friends at Second Harvest of Silicon Valley, they deliver food in their semi-trucks 4 times a week at our warehouse in San Jose. And then what we do is we transport the food to 41 different locations approved by Second Harvest that are food insecure. In Alameda County, we pick the food up at their warehouse, and then we take it to 16 other locations in Alameda County. And we are able to scale this program to 56 different locations. You know why? Because at 41 of the 56, it is a local church that are the ones that are doing the distribution. We come alongside local churches and make it really easy for them to serve their low-income neighbors. We provide them with the food, the systems, the support, the coaching. What they need to do is they just need to man it. They need to provide the manpower. And they also need to agree to then serve them in a loving way and do follow-up in ways that honor our agreement with the USDA. These pantries then give churches legitimate reasons to connect with people they otherwise would not know and have, and then gives them the opportunities to also help them thrive by living the discipled life. So let's take a closer look at what we're doing in Milpitas. So I want to introduce you all to Anna. Anna, she comes every first and third Saturday to the pantry we have at Silicon Valley Alliance Church in Milpitas. This is a Chinese church that's been there for a long time. And now when school closed for 18 months, Anna had to take care of her grandchildren. And she did this while she was recovering from a car accident. Just that the stress of everything put a severe strain on her marriage. And she had a lot of challenges. As a Catholic, Anna would never even think of going to a Christian or a non-Catholic church. But she really appreciates how well this church has served them, rain or shine. So she got invited to receive clothing at one of the clothing pop-up closets we do there once a month. And at that pop-up, she got invited and she heard about Vital Connections. Vital Connections is a 6-month, like an inductive Bible study that we help specifically women have better relationships to connect with God, connect with self, connect with family, and then also with their neighbors. She was very hesitant and suspicious about non-Catholic churches. But she told me, you know what, Hermie, I said to myself, I'm like, my life is a mess. Maybe this program is what I really need. So she said yes. Not just that, she convinced her sister Maria to join her at the Vital Connections program. They met at the church, and after, about a month or so of discovering God and also making new friends, she surrendered her life to God. And she said, she didn't say I got born again. She didn't quite use that language. She said, but it's incredible. God started changing my life. He started changing the way I see others, my language and everything. God changed her attitude towards her husband, and her marriage improved. This was at her graduation, and she told me it's like a dark cloud was lifted from her, and that she found a new purpose. That new purpose is to help as many people as she knows to discover the same hope that she discovered in God. Anna attends the ESL program at the Milpitas Adult Learning Center. And, when people experience transformation, they can't shut up. So she's sharing with people. And the director said, wow, this is incredible. Do you think you can bring that program here? Because I know many moms need the same thing. That's her whole family there. And God is doing incredible things in their life. Anna is a person of peace. She's like that ice cream lady in Milpitas. I love how she and her Vital Connection ladies, they invited a bunch of families to come to a Christmas pop-up closet that was held at Milpitas church around Christmas. And Anna shared her testimony, and she encouraged them and said, don't be like me. We're not about changing your religion, but what we are doing is changing your condition. And there was 20 ladies was attending there and their kids, and they got some toys and everything. 12 ladies put their name down for Vital Connections. And Anna and her sister are now facilitating for those 12 a Vital Connections program. See, the thing is, yes, our best harvesters come from the harvest. That's where our best workers come from. It's not from transferred growth. It's not that couple that come from another church that they left. They weren't too happy with the music there. The best workers come from those new Christians. We just need to start to release them and equip them a lot sooner. Now let me zoom out real quick about what's happening in the larger Milpitas. Pastor Dan Griffith, he's here. Pastor Dan, raise your hand. Pastor Dan Griffith has been hosting a pastors network, and they've been meeting for about 25 years now. So a lot of relational trust with one another, but also they've established a lot of trust with the city government. And the Milpitas Police Department actually asked Pastor Dan, can you give us a list of services that your church provides that their officers, when they encounter people in need, that they can refer people to? So Pastor Dan, he was acknowledged that he needs some help doing that. So I offered to help, and I created a Google Sheet that we gave them. Let the pastors just list the services and give some information around that. And the interesting thing was 8 churches listed 25 different programs that's already being offered. And as I read these programs and services at one of these gatherings, we all realized that 8 churches are already blessing thousands of people every month. Then we narrowed that down to 17 services offered by 6 churches that we believe would be relevant for the Milpitas Police Department and also school liaisons. We grouped them together under categories of education, emotional support, free meals and groceries, parenting, recovery, sports, youth, and children's services. Now, every year, these churches gather under the banner of Milpitas Cares, and they serve the city for the 3 weeks around Easter, kind of like Beautiful Day and surf schools and so forth. So what we are doing right now is in the process of redesigning this website to be a year-round destination for people that are either looking to get help or to give help. Now, why are we doing this? We're doing this because if we want to reach and transform Milpitas, that will take effective collaboration. And the different churches need to know who is doing what. So really to facilitate collaboration, also to make the most of every existing opportunity. Each church needs to have a circle of accountability for lostness that relates to the people they are already serving. We want to narrow that disconnect. I'll give you an example. Out of that 17 listings, 5 of those are free pantry programs. One of them, I visited a week ago, served 800 households every other Saturday. 800 households. But there's no follow-up being done. Now imagine, we see on average now 20% up to 60% of people are open if they have the right invitation. But let's say just 10% are open like Anna. That's 80 households would be living the disciple life, being transformed, and also transforming their community. What an impact that can have. Another example, there's an ESL program at Christ Community Church. They run the largest ESL program this side of the Mississippi. Pastor Mark, and they are serving immigrants, many people new to this country, and not non-Christians. Pastor Mark told us that on average, 80% of people that are in this program give their lives to Christ and become disciples of Jesus. Now that's an ESL program done right. That's making the most of every opportunity. So third thing is we want to share best practices and help each other replicate programs and services at more locations. Let's open source what's working. And Christ Community Church has figured out how to do ESL programs well, so they're willing to help other programs get started at other locations. So the fourth thing is we want to combine our resources to activate more diverse disciple makers that can be inserted in existing and future programs. Many times we need to look at helping churches. Some churches are really good at doing the events, but they struggle with follow-up. What if we raise up teams like Anna's that we can insert that can then relate to the people and follow up, and we can start to equip them and support them. As we read those services, I'll finish with this. One of the churches saw that Celebrate Recovery is one of the programs that's offered. And they did not know that. And they immediately said, wow, you guys do Celebrate Recovery? Yeah, we've been doing it for almost 2 years. It's like, we've been talking about starting Celebrate Recovery. And it was so cool. And like, oh, don't worry about it. We can help you get started. I'll give you all the curriculum and everything, and let's work together on getting that started. So we just need to see, we're not in competition. We need each other. So let's just start to work together. So folks, Jesus is the solution. And his disciples passing on the discipled life, we are the delivery system, the delivery mechanism for healing our world. Let's make the most of every opportunity. Thank you. So with that, we can do some Q&A. Yes. All right.
Let me repeat the question.
Yeah.
He's asking, why not have the teams that go into the churches actually go equip the churches and teach them to do it? So you may already be doing that, but that's the question.
It takes a long time to learn Spanish if you're a Chinese church. Sometimes, yeah, it's just there's so much cultural diversity. So we need to kind of borrow disciple makers from different. So, and then it's also, a lot of people don't feel like they have the gift of evangelism or discipleship, but they are willing to, to help load or host. So until we can raise up some more disciple makers, I think we can start to make the most of every opportunity and see it's not just my harvest, but it's all of our harvest.
Yeah, I loved what you just shared, because I love the way that you all are bridging the gap. Like, you're somewhere in the middle. You're this huge visionary, but you're also bridging the gap and solving the very practical issues of, we have a great vision, but the answer is very simple. They don't speak the right language, so you're coming alongside of them and helping them do that. Aaron?
Looking at the examples that you shared, if you were going into a new area or region, what would be the entry point or the starting point? Would it be like taking an assessment of the community's needs and then sitting down and figuring out, what churches are willing to work together? Can you maybe just speak to like the origin of how that rolled out?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And I think, so City Team, our sweet spot is really looking at serving low-income families and people in need. At the last summit, Finney Abrams actually did a talk on what they're doing with CAPSV, and I'm partnering with Finney. I think the key is to look at, you got to have a target area, and I would say look at who's the players, what's already happening there. And at the previous talk, we say we don't necessarily have to start something. We can rather join someone that's already doing some really great work. And that you need to kind of find out and connect with. There are maybe already some pastors networks, or there are already maybe some other groups that already know the pulse. And then I would say then you can figure out what do you have that you can bring to the table, and see how that can be applied. We use food because it meets legitimate needs, but we also have a really great supply of food. Then it's a matter of coming alongside local churches, and many local churches want to serve their low-income families, but it's a big old process. So we just look at making it really easy for local churches to be the ones to serve their low-income neighbors, and they already have the manpower to do the follow-up and the buildings to host some of those things.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for presenting.